I don't know where I picked this up, where I heard about it, or what made me, what inspired me adapting this. But at the end of my daily white Tara practice, I dedicate with "May my life be of benefit, may even my death be of benefit." And this idea about "may even my death be of benefit," once in a while I think, I wonder what that would look like. But anyway, I say it, and I have the idea that if I'm rehearsing this idea that may even my death be of benefit, should that come to mind at the time of my death, it would actually spur me to maybe practice Tonglen or dedicate on behalf of other living beings or something. And so, because White Tara's, one of her specialties is to support long life, and that's a practice that Venerable Children has asked all of us to do every day. This "may my life be of benefit, may my death be of benefit" has been important to me. And then just the other day, it's come up again. I was doing a regular kind of checkup at Newport Hospital, and as I came out, I've told some of you this, but someone stopped me, a woman about my age, stopped me coming out, and she said, "Hello, I'm just so happy to meet someone from your community. I've wanted to tell you personally how much I have been concerned about what happened to your monk." She said, I followed it. I was praying for him all the time. Our entire congregation was praying for him. I'm still praying for him. And I think about you all so much. And she said, I know you're very spiritual, and you're certainly working with it in your way, but it's also personal and painful. And she said, I've wanted to say that to you personally. And then she said, I'm so happy you're part of our community. She said, as my hairdresser says, you bring good vibes to Newport. So I'm so happy you're here. So of course, I was totally touched by this connection, by this contact, but it also brought to mind, wow, what benefit this death has brought. And I've thought of this over and over again through the course of all the time that we were searching for Geshe Dadul and seeing people's responses to that tragedy. We've had many people in town have said my congregation has been praying for him. And just imagining hunters out in the fall with their rifles doing their fall hunting of the deer, seeing his beautiful monk face, nailed to a fence post out in the woods as a missing person, evoking this kind of compassion from people who would never in a million years walk up to the monastery and say, what the heck are they doing up there? And I'd like to find out. But the imprint that has come about all over the place, like around the world as a result of his passing, that's given me a hint of how even a death can be of benefit. So once again, in the recent death, murder, execution, however you want to characterize it, of Alexei Navalny, that thought has been again up, may my death be of benefit. And this is a very different circumstance. We don't know what the effect of this will be. Certainly, anyone who is an advocate for freedom, for the end of oppression of any kind, of any being, is doing beneficial work. But comparing the freedom and the liberation that comes even from an Alexei Navalny or other martyrs or other great leaders of all time whose deaths have moved people forward, that is still a result of this life. Whereas someone like Geshe Dadul's imprints, at least from our Buddhist perspective, our imagination anyway, is that those imprints stay in their mind for a long time. Maybe in another life they meet the Dharma, they meet a monk, they won't remember that they saw that poster, but the imprint is there. And what effect will that have on their future lives? We have no idea. So I was thinking about another great Geshe who passed away a few years ago now, Geshe Lungdup Sopa, was a phenomenal teacher, an amazing scholar whose impact on spreading the Dharma in the West is kind of uncountable if we think of who his students were and what he has done throughout his lifetime. When Geshe Sopa died, he was in Tukdam. He was in meditation for 7 days. I just looked it up for sure, 7 days. And he had said something very unusual. And I'm telling this story secondhand, so I may not have all the details right, but I know that this is the main part is true. He had said, anyone who wants to come and sit with this body is allowed to come. So it's not like only the monks were in there doing prayers and nobody could come in. Anybody could come in and sit with his body during those 7 days that he was in meditation. And one of the nuns there told me about a woman who had come. She was a Girl Scout, and he had come to visit her troop by invitation when she was a young woman. And she remembered him so vividly that she hadn't come, she wasn't Buddhist, she'd never come back to the center, but upon hearing that he died and that she could come sit with the body, she came. What she experienced there, I don't know. What anyone might have experienced there, I don't know. But that this was a planned event that to make his life and make his death of benefit. So I'm thinking, okay, so what about ordinary people who don't have those kinds of powers? But then I was thinking about my friend Jane, one of the people that I was really privileged with a group of friends to sit and probably 2 weeks, maybe, I don't remember how many weeks it was, but as a group, we supported her end of life. She was dying from pancreatic cancer. And she was Buddhist also. She had done an amazing feat in my mind. She'd been on morphine for quite a long time, and she did not want to have a drugged mind. And so using her mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, she meditated on that mantra to get herself off the morphine so that she could, although she was in pain, she could live the end of her life with a clear mind. And one night I was sitting there with another Buddhist friend, and she just kind of came out of her reverie and she said, you know, I wish I had practiced more Dharma in my life. Direct quote from Lama Tsongkhapa, right? Right out of the Lam Rim. Here is my dear friend. And then she went on to say, she said, you know, I've been running around setting up classes, and she taught a system that was really beneficial for people, that this is the way I benefit other people. But she said, now that I'm looking right at this death, I see that I wish I had made more time for the Dharma. Now, that woman's death affected my life incredibly. And I think probably some of the other people around her too. So this has led me back to thinking really clearly that it's not, you can't choreograph how your death is going to affect anybody else. You're doing really well if you can even imagine how your death is going to affect you. So we do our best to live a life fully, to live a life trying to develop the good qualities that we want to die with and carry forward. We want to go forward with our love. We want to go forward with our compassion. We want to go forward with our generosity. We don't want to be carrying our irritation. We don't want to be carrying our fears and stuff with us. They're going to come as long as we're ordinary beings. But to really practice in our lives, to be able to cultivate these virtuous mental factors, our faith included, our refuge included, that rehearsal is what will take us to the moment of death, through the time of death, and we pray, and we also practice that it will arise at that time. And then I think it's impossible for the death not to be of benefit to somebody. That's my thought. Of course, you know, death is certain time under certain capacity, you know, the situation for how we will die is completely unknown. We cannot plan it. But we can, I think, hold the intention. I came across just yesterday, I was putting some stuff, or maybe the day before, I was putting stuff up on our Instagram channel, and I happened to come across, I didn't know that Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo has an Instagram page. But she had a very beautiful quote that was similar to this. She said, I had a friend who was very much in denial that she was going to die of cancer. I said to her, come on, you have to make friends with death. Poor death. Nobody likes him. They're all trying to avoid him. He's given a very bad press. But actually, he's very compassionate. So kindly make friends. Embrace him and say, hello, what can you teach me? So if we embrace death in that friendly way, that's also another cause for may my death be of benefit. So it gives me, I know you can't just pray for it, but it does give me a continued incentive, and I have to be like goaded again and again and again to keep having inspiration to stick with it sometimes. You just get... But I find that this helps. May my death be a benefit. And in order for that to happen, my life must be of benefit. And I can't do that just to be of benefit, but I have to do it with a view of my potential, your potential, our potential for the long haul, that our Buddhahood is possible. And our liberation from suffering is possible. And the things that we do now will definitely result if we don't let up and we don't turn away. So, may my life be of benefit, and may our death be of benefit.